Thank you to EA Game Changers for making this video possible. Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Penapple and today I am doing an early access video. If I can get it out on time, we'll see. As you guys know, I'm in school. I said that really weird. That just... I shouldn't bring up school this early because I just get so panicked. Anyways, I am redoing the lot that we got in the Realms of Magic world. It is really pretty there, almost to the detriment of the other new world we got where people just kind of live. I almost feel like they should have just gone with this world. I don't know, because the other world is just kind of dull. Not gonna lie. But anyways, as I said earlier in the video, thank you to EA Game Changers for making this video possible. I will try and post this build on the gallery ASAP. You can find it. My username is penappleYT. I still haven't posted the last video from... Sorry, not video. I still haven't posted the last build. One second. I need to minimize something because it's driving me crazy. Okay. It just keeps like flashing that I have low frames, but I don't think that's the case, and also I don't think it matters because this will be a teeny little thing on the corner of your screen and it's fine. Anyways, I still haven't posted the last video. You know, if I could talk well, that would be great. We're just gonna keep going because I already have some great content that I want to keep in here. Also, this video is very, very long. And so we need something to fill it. We really do. Okay, I still haven't posted the last build to the gallery that I said I would ASAP. ASAP apparently does not mean as soon as possible. It means as slow as possible. Hey, you know, I thought of that on the fly, and I'm sure thousands of people have thought of that too, but I'm pretty pleased with myself. Anyways, this build ended up having so many bedrooms and bathrooms. It is huge. I kind of imagined it as like a school, sort of. It got lost in the plot a little bit because basically I just tried to build really, really weird shapes. Some of them are floating, some of them are not. 3 different buildings that are only vaguely connected and in some cases only connected by like a floating staircase with no railings because I didn't like how they looked, and so I figured if they're magicians, they'll float. The ground. They have brooms. They even have Swiffers, which is amazing, and I love it. Great addition. I have a Swiffer sweeper upper. I'm sure they're not called Swiffers because that's trademarked. But anyways, I am gonna try and stay on topic for a little bit. I am enjoying the new pack. The build stuff is really fun. My biggest thing is some of the swatches are a little bit hard to use. Like some of the windows, like all of the windows and doors are amazing. And I love that we got some new free stuff. Although the free stuff swatches don't quite match the actual swatches, which are kind of hard to use. We got 2 tones of the sort of light brown that honestly has to be my least favorite wood tone in the world. And you know what I realized as I was trying to think of what that wood tone looks like? It kind of looks like my hair, at least in this lighting. And I don't like the way that my hair looks like in this lighting. So maybe I just don't like it because I think that it looks like a quality that I already don't particularly like. Anyways, they're like 2 slightly different but very close wood tones that don't actually match some other stuff in the game, and that's kind of frustrating, as always, especially with the big new Swatch update. I was kind of expecting a little bit more, but anyways, because like I went to go do another build, because this build I just went wild. I went wild. I used whatever I wanted, and I apologize because I know not everyone has the packs, and usually I start off with a new pack, game-based game only build, and that didn't happen this time because this lot, it needed. This build needed. So I am working on a base game and new stuff only build as well that will hopefully be released in soonish. We'll see. School. Don't get me started. I will get there eventually, but don't get me started now. Okay. That one will get there eventually. At first it was going to be a base game and new stuff only starter. I did that for the last game expansion release, and I don't know why I tried to do it again this time. It was a mistake, and it's not going to be a starter. But anyways, we have 3 buildings. The main building, which houses most of the stuff, this building I'm working on right now, I kind of imagined it being geometric itself, or the geodes, and I played around with adding geodes to it, but I didn't quite like the effect, and it clipped into the rooms, and so I just kind of let it be reminiscent. / it looks like a Quidditch pitch with the stripes and the triangular turrets, and you know, we need a good Harry Potter reference at all times, so there we go. And then we have the floating one, which is so cute. I love it so much. It is great. I just realized, which one is this? This one? Okay, sorry. I thought it was my friends, and I wasn't sure they'd be okay with being on television. YouTube? Okay, I sound like as old as the people who are in this picture, which were my lovely parents at Christmas time, and you probably can't even see them at all. I don't know why I'm concerned about this. If you hadn't noticed, I'm in a new background area with lots of pugs, lots of them everywhere. I have like this is from like a whole calendar. I can't directions. It's calendar set. It's late on Sunday night. And we're doing this so that we can get it done and get it out there and be semi-relevant for once. Okay, but yeah, so some of you guys may know, I moved, and so this background may be familiar to some of you. Oh, geez. I feel old just saying it like that. I just feel a little old today. I'm 26, and I'm just feeling a little old today. My previous face cam and speed build videos have been back when I was living in that area for my grad school program, and we aren't there anymore. But speaking of where I live, the building next to me has been painting, and I say that with such hesitation because, oh boy, the color they picked. It's a royal blue. It's very blue. It's like lighter than this plate color, which I just happen to have a dirty plate next to me to show you. And I took a picture of it, which I'll insert the swatch here, because I went up to the building and took a picture of it just for you guys to show you how blue this building is. And it's looking a little bit better with a white trim, but this building is probably 10 to 15 feet away from our building. It's very close, and it's very blue, and it's all we can see now is just this blue. And it used to be this kind of ugly beigey yellow color, but that wasn't an offensive color. It was just kind of this building looks a little neglected kind of color, nothing too big, yeah, it's fine. Now it is aggressively blue. It is aggressive, and it's just so blue. And okay, I wrote down this exchange as my boyfriend overheard it. And okay, so a woman came up to the painters and she was like, "It's supposed to be yellow." I'm just kidding. But it is really blue. Did they mean it to be this blue? And when the painters confirmed that, yes, this is the color they picked out, the woman responded, "Well, I guess they don't have to live with it." And I'm now in love with this woman who I don't know. It was introduced to me by my boyfriend, so that's a little awkward. Oh, maybe he shouldn't tell me the story. Anyways, but yeah, it's just a very aggressively blue. It is so blue. So, I think we've mostly gotten to the shape of this building, and now we're doing one thing which I love doing. I've done this a couple times before, but I cut out the basement, the ceiling of the basement, so you can look underground. And I made lots of like swirly patterns, and it looks kind of geometric, and it's just fun. I just had fun with it, and I used the Spa Day, I think it's Spa Day glowy flooring. Why is that in Spa Day if it is Spa Day? That's a mystery for the ages. I guess it's supposed to be the color of the pools. I've never used it in a pool. Or maybe I have. I think that might be a lie. But I colored them 3 different colors that would normally be completely abnormal colors that you would not count as natural. But because of the weird sky here, like, you could almost imagine it as cutting through the world to getting to see the sky underneath, which I think is really cool. And I use like the lighting, like little lighting strips to emphasize like the little patterns. And so yeah, if you're curious as to how I cut out the ceiling, basically you select the room that's underground, and then you go up a floor and try not to exit out of that room, because if you do, you lost it. You have to go back down and re-find it. So you go up a floor, and then you click on it, the like little outline of the room, and then you can click delete ceiling. And then you get rid of it. And also I cut out the part where I like connected all the little rooms, because I didn't want to delete the ceiling like 50 times. I wanted to do it 3 max. I think I did it 4 times here. I failed. I just wanted to do it 3 times. I did it 4. But yeah, so I just like extended all the rooms out so that they went, and I cut that part out because this video is already super long. You did not need to sit here and see that. But as you can see, those are little lighting strips, and I've played around with those before. I once made like a tile pattern with them to make my own flooring, which is really cool. These things, I feel like I might use these more than the average person, and I still don't think they get the love they deserve. They're just such a weird little piece of The Sims. Yeah, but I like how it turned out, and I like the overhead shot. I could have made the walls glowy as well, and now that I didn't even try it. I'm not sure why I didn't try it. I wish I had, just to see what it looks like, because that might have been more obvious from the side. But, you know, you live and you learn. You live and you learn, which reminds me, school. We had to come back to that at some point. So the other day, my classes they're all over the place, but one of them was like teaching us about our learning style, sort of. Not necessarily about our learning style, more the collective learning style of people when they're learning about cultural competency and sensitive issues, especially. And so the professor was talking about how there's 3 zones. It's like a spectrum of learning. There's the comfort zone where you're not actually learning, like you're there, but you kind of like already know it and you aren't being challenged, so you're not really learning. Then there's the learning zone where you are actually learning with assistance. And then there is the panic zone. And the moment she said panic zone, I turned to the person next to me and I'm like, I exist in that zone. And then my classmate nodded aggressively as if to say she also exists in that mode. Because I think when you get to the graduate school level, we all exist in the panic mode. But yeah, it was just like, I like that word. And basically it just means when something becomes too challenging, that you shut down and you kind of refuse to learn it, or you say, I can't learn it, that sort of thing, you know. But I just feel like graduate school is all panic zone learning. I feel like you just like quiver right in between the high end of learning and then the really low end of panic at all times. And you like kind of like surge into panic, like, okay, we're here, we're still back and forth, slight panic attacks, and then pooh, you're panic attacked. And then you kind of make it back to the quiver zone. Graduate school is stressful. I'm a little extra stressed out now just because I'm like trying to take advantage of early access. I was moving because of school for the Moschino stuff pack that came out, and so I didn't get to do anything with that. I didn't even get the free access code because I forgot to get it, so I had to pay for it. I think I mentioned that before. But yeah, so So I'm trying to do that. I have a test tomorrow. It shouldn't be too hard. I have studied for it, but I haven't studied for other things, and I just quiver. I'm just in the quiver zone right now, as always. But let's move on from that. Oh, this whole upstairs floor. Oh, I'm doing the stairs, the new stairs. How have I not even mentioned them? They are quite glorious. They were a little unwieldy at first. And I feel like they're best used if you try and configure them outside of the build before you put them in, and because they get really like, don't, wall, There's a wall there, and you're like, I know, I'm trying to configure you so that there isn't. And so you have to like take it outside the build and configure it and then put it back in, and I think that's a little frustrating. I don't know how else they would fix it. But yeah, so I'm just kind of like, but getting a firmer hang of it was good, and I love that I wouldn't call it a spiral staircase. I guess it's a spiral. It's like a square spiral, which, by the way, if you're familiar at all with Spirals, the manga, they're making an anime for it, and it's a horror manga. And it's weird that I know of it, and I've read the first 2 like books of it, but anyways, it's very terrifying, like actual horror. But they're making it for Adult Swim, and I'll probably watch at least a little bit of it just so I can get a gist. But there's like an ad for it, like the trailer, and it just has the most horrifying music on it, complete with like, I'm sorry I made that noise into your ear holes. But if I know you're probably not going to go watch it, so I wanted you to experience it on a small level. It's like that for most of it, and it's really off-putting. Anyway, it's very fitting for it. And speaking of horror movies, I just want to mention my boyfriend's off to go see the movie It right now. The It 2, I guess. The second chapter. That movie is so long. Like, he was like, this movie's gonna be long. You can't even guess how long it's gonna be. And so I'm like, I'm gonna guess 2.5 hours, because that's like pretty long, you know? And it maybe he's exaggerating. I looked it up. It's 2 hours and 50 minutes. It's almost 3 hours. You cannot hold suspense that long. But anyways, we'll see what the boyfriend says when he gets back. Yeah, I played around with the coloring on this little turret thingy just because I didn't want it to match too much, but I still wanted it to go. And so I think we ended up with a white and blue or a white and black theme. I'm not sure. White figured its way into there somehow. Which reminds me, so the exterior, like, window swatches are, like, you know, weirdly brown. Talked about my hair. The furniture swatches are weirdly neutral. I'm kind of was expecting them to, like, kind of merge it with the vampire stuff or really any other stuff that we have. But there's a lot of white and gray and black, like different combinations of those, which is nice. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm glad they're there. But there's also nothing else. Like, I want some really strong purples, some emerald greens, some aggressive royal blues. Anyone? Maybe the paint that they're spraying next door on the building is going to my brain. But, you know, I like want some peacock colors. You know, get in there. Maybe even some more yellows. Like, give me some, like, solid, like, Hufflepuff and, you know, some strong, bold reds. There are a couple, you know, for, like, Gryffindor. And then we have some of the blues. We don't have any greens, though. Where are my house colors? I like... Yeah, I'm a Hufflepuff, in case anyone was concerned. I feel like that's a little bit more stylish. I feel like in the books, Hufflepuffs seem like they're really, like, gross, like, cows. Like, nobody wants to be in there. They're so, like, plain and boring. But I'm, like, such a Hufflepuff. And I think it's become more common for people to be like, yeah, I'm, like, a Hufflepuff. So, definitely not a Gryffindor. Like, my parents were always like, oh, you're either a Gryffindor or a Ravenclaw. I'm like, I'm not Gryffindor. Definitely not Ravenclaw. Like, I'm smart. Don't get me wrong. I feel nervous just saying that. I want to be like, but I am in grad school. So I think at a certain point, am I allowed to say that I'm smart? It feels like as like a strong, independent woman, I should be like, yeah, I'm smart. But like, then there's just that other part of me that's like, but yeah, anyways, so let me know what your house is. I would love to know. I love knowing that stuff. Like, I feel like for me, I'm not huge into astrology and things like that. So I'm not into science. I don't know them very well. Maybe there's just too many of them. But because there are only four Hogwarts houses, I can get behind that. Let me know. And if you know what your American school equivalent is, let me know that too. I know there's four as well, and I think one of them is like the big bird thing. It's going well. So I made these, I completely skipped over it, but I made those two crescent shapes at the bottom, and I really like how those turned out. I fiddled around with them a bit because I wanted to like recreate it. So there's two of them, but then like the lot restrictions, it was like a little bit of a mess, but it was pretty cute. Okay, let me move on to a new topic. Oh, I keep picking up stuff that I think is other people's things so I can return it to them, only to learn that it's not their stuff. That's happened twice in the last like 2 days, and I need to stop. I need to stop being a good Samaritan and thus stealing other people's things. It started out with like all of my, well, not all of them, but a few of my classmates and I were in like one of the cafeterias at school, and like two dropped by and talked for a bit and then walked off, and you know, my friends was like, oh, is this Ron Weasley's? I like using code names, and we're on Harry Potter anyways. Is this Ron's? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'll text him. So I take a picture of it, send it to Ron. No, he doesn't respond for a little bit, which is fair. And we need to start moving it to class. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's theirs. Nobody else was there. I'll just pick it up. Take it with me. Ron responds, no, it's not his. And he was also with Harry Potter. And so I was like, well, is it Harry's? And he's like, no. And so then I had to turn around, go back, awkwardly walk into the cafeteria to set down a travel mug, and then walk off. I'm like, I hope nobody thinks that this is something sketchy. It's really just somebody else's mug. Also, I felt like I wanted hand sanitizer just because like travel mugs are kind of like gross objects, like germ-wise. And so I just felt like I wanted some sort of hand sanitizer after that experience, especially because I didn't know whose it was. If it had been Ron Weasley's or Harry Potter's, I probably still would have wanted a little hand sanitizer, if we're going to be honest. But I would have wanted it just like a little bit less. Anyways, the other day I found yesterday, I found a pin outside, and I took a picture of it, sent it out to my boyfriend. I'm like, is this yours? No response. I had to pick it up, carry it with me into the apartment. It wasn't his. I don't know where it went. I'm going to try and put it back to where we found it, unless he wants it. It was like a Beetlejuice pin. Pretty cute. But I want to put it back to where I found it. On the ground outside. Just because, you know, people look the last place they think they had it, and so... you know. Anyways, this build does have all the requirements that you need for living. I think some of the rooms are kind of far away from each other, especially if you want your sim to hang out in one of the bedrooms in the like crystal like building or in the tower. That can get a little like difficult, but most like all three buildings have at least one bathroom. I think no, yeah, at least one. And what was I gonna say? Oh boy, Sims, like NPC Sims, just walk all over this place. Like it's their own castle. Like each and every one like walks into the castle like it's theirs, which is kind of like the case of what the law I guess is supposed to be, but it is annoying. Oh my gosh, I recently started using MC Command Center. I deleted Sims quite liberally, but because it's right in front of the portal, they just kept coming. I would literally delete all of the Sims out of the world except for my active household, and then 2 seconds later, more would pour through the portal, probably because I deleted all the Sims. Anyways, a lot of Sims were lost, and I am glad they all were gone. I wish more could have left. They just were crawling all over, which is terrible for panoramics. I had a really fun story that I forgot to tell you. I actually had two that I forgot to tell you about my brother's wedding. So the groomsperson that I walked with was super sweet. I was so glad I got to walk with her. I had never really met her or any of the groom's people, to be completely honest. Awkward, even though my brother was the groom. Anyways, and she went to my high school. Anyways, but so like my boyfriend came over and his car battery died in the middle of the city we were in. And so she immediately offered to help. And she walked with us all the way to his car a few blocks away to see if it was in fact the battery. 2 seconds in, we confirmed it was the battery, and we realized she had to walk all the way back. So she walks already back to her car, and we start getting everything set up for a jump. And like, I'm kind of occupying the parallel parking space in front of the car so that hopefully nobody swoops in and just parks there, because like, we need to jump. Like, we need room. Multiple people, I was kind of surprised. Multiple people were like, "You need a jump?" And we're like, no, we have a friend coming. It's fine. It's been like 15 minutes. It was not a 15-minute walk. We're kind of like, where did she go? Like, did she forget about us? And then finally I get a text from my parents. She needed a jump to start her own car. Two jumps were needed that day. Oh my God, it was so bad. And so finally, by the time that she pulled in, right before she could kind of pull in, this dude just like swooped in with his truck and was just started like giving us a jump without like even asking us if we need a jump. Like, he like jumped out, like popped his hood and was like getting in there, and like we were like, thanks. And the person we originally wanted to jump from, she was like, "You found someone else?" And we're like, he literally just showed up. It was so weird. It was so weird. It was the day of needing jumps. The day of jumps. But yeah, so we had to figure it out. Oh, and the other story, I remember, I'm going to have to, yeah. Anyways, the other story, I remember now. I didn't forget it. I debated on telling this because it was kind of an embarrassing moment for my mother. But I don't think she knows how to find my YouTube videos. She knows that I make them, but I don't think she knows how to find them on her own. I could be very wrong. I could get a very strongly worded call from her. But anyways, so it came to the speech part at my brother's wedding. And like almost everyone had gone up and made a little speech. It was all good. And then they started chanting my mom's name. Gail, 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 Gail. And my mom's like, no, she's not a public speaker type person. She's like, I know. But she got chanted enough that she had to finally go up. And oh boy, you guys, I felt so bad. She like didn't want to make a speech. They made her give a speech on the spot. She wasn't prepared. And so the first thing she says is, "I'm so happy that, my son found his wife, because just he's been lonely for a really long time, like 10 years. I think maybe she said alone. Alone or lonely. Either way, it was really bad. And the entire room started laughing and like couldn't stop. And like the guy they had hired to DJ didn't help the matter because like he basically like came up and took the mic away from my mom and like started to move everyone on to the next thing, and then like would break down laughing. It was really bad. And I felt really bad because like she meant it so sincerely. Like she just like was happy to see her son happy and with somebody, especially because she had felt like he had trouble finding, but just the act of saying he had trouble finding someone has like such negative connotations. It was so bad, you guys. And I tried to reel it in, and like a lot of my family members like tried to reel it in, because we knew she would be embarrassed. And now I'm telling the story. It's fine. It's really not that embarrassed. Anyways, I explained what she meant with it. So I have regrets, but I'm not going to take it out. I have a slight feeling of unease. Not very many of you guys are here, right? Nobody's good. Okay, we're just going to move on. Look at how pretty my nails are. They're like so shiny. They're like holographic. You can't even tell. They just look like little weird sausages right now. let me find something else to talk about. I actually have a great topic. Thunderstorms. I live in Seattle. We so rarely get thunderstorms, and when we do, it's like a couple of like bolts of lightning. We got like an actual like East Coast thunderstorm. It was rad. Like, it kind of started up, and me and my boyfriend were like, huh, wow, this is nice, because we both love thunderstorms. And then it really started going, and we realized it was like right above us. So we did what any smart people would do. We threw on hoodies and we went outside. It was great. Like, there were a lot of tall buildings. I don't know. The likelihood was just so low that we'd actually get struck by lightning. And we didn't, so it was fine. But it was so cool to get to see it. We got absolutely drenched. Like, it was great, though. And it made the news because it was a big deal. It was like a big thunderstorm for our area. It was really exciting. I was down with it. Car alarms kept going off. It was like the 4th of July, but nature's version. That's all I wanted to say on thunderstorms. Let's see. I have my whole list of things. One of the things on my list is literally pretty nails, and I just showed it to you. You know, I have the bottle. I'll show you that too. ILNP. So, pretty nails. I'm a YouTube beauty guru, which is great. Oh, one of the things I wanted to mention, I put down no counters on my list. That's not the case. No cabinets. There are no cabinets to go with these new counters. Which I understand. Most of them are pretty neutral colors, and you can find a cabinet that matches. Kinda. But I'm just against it on principle. Also, they could have rendered a lot of really cool, like, spellcraft looking items for like some of the end piece counters, and I feel like they really skipped that opportunity. Anyways, here's a little classroom area, and each desk has its own little wand, and I had fun going into the buy to bug mode and finding them, and like, I just love how this classroom turned out. It's really cute. It's only like 4 students, but the chalkboard looks good. Like, I love the herbs hanging on the wall. It's great. It's just great, and I love it. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Have we made it? Is there too many things? What should we talk about? I basically talked about everything. The last thing I can really talk about is school, and so buckle up, because we all know I love to complain. So I basically was given an outlet to complain. Me and my small, like, little, like, subsect of classmates who did the long distance learning for a year, we had like a confidential debrief, and it was the most amazing thing. And part of it was the sort of mediator of it. She was completely separate from our school, so she didn't like have any sort of sway, I guess, was the point, or no power over us, I guess, was the main point, which was nice. She was so validating. We had a professor who we really didn't like, and she basically was like, I'm sensing a lot of fear of reprisal from this professor. And we were all like, mm-hmm. She's like, that's completely understandable. And we're all like, thank you. And like, she's like, what are you guys afraid of? And then one of my classmates just kept saying, she's just so powerful. But yeah, I think I've talked about her before. Like, my main story with her was, one, she wouldn't bring me vegetarian food. And like the first time she was like, nobody told me there were any vegetarians in the group. And then like when she realized that she had in fact been told, she was like, well, when I bring vegetarian food, nobody ever eats it. And that was her first time working with our group. So she was like extrapolating off of like, I guess, previous groups. And I was just like, I will eat it. If you bring me vegetarian food, I will eat it instead of the meat, because I can't eat the meat. Yeah, so that was one thing. And another time, she said she was going to bring us food, and then she didn't like a comment that one of my classmates made when we were discussing what food she could bring. I guess she just didn't, she was like, it's just so ungrateful. You guys are all so ungrateful. So she didn't bring us food. Which is like, just don't offer to bring us food. Anyways, they're not all food based. But yeah, it was just pretty wild. And so it was really validating. It was really funny because like the mediator was like, now we're going to move on to the faculty. You voiced a lot of good faculty that you've had, but are there any that, you know, you had some issues with? And all of us kind of like side-eyeing around, like I think each thinking of our own kind of least favorite professor for one reason or another. And then one of my classmates leans in, she's like, are we going to talk about the one? And all of us are kind of like, again, still side-eyeing and like, yes. And then she's like, and then she said the professor's name and everyone's like, oh yeah. Making it really clear that all of us have been thinking of different people, but then agreed that yes, this will be a good one to talk about. And at one point, I think it was said, the like mediator was like, well, you guys seem to not have taken it too personally, just been like, you know, kind of scared of her. You know, like, yeah, we kind of bonded. Like, we didn't take it too personally. We just kind of bonded over it. Anyways, we are coming up on the end of this build. I actually managed to fill the time allotted to me, which is great. And if you've stuck around so far, tell me what magical creature you could be. Any magical creature, if you could. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll have a base game and Realms of Magic only speed build coming out soon. It won't be a starter though. I can promise you that. It won't. But yeah, thanks again to EA for giving me early access, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!